You know that feeling when you walk through an old city and just sense the echoes of the past? Well, today we're diving into Larnaca, a city in Cyprus where the buildings themselves tell this incredible story that stretches back 4,000 years. So let's start peeling back those layers. And that quote, it just nails it, doesn't it? This isn't about a museum with artifacts sitting behind glass. In Larnaca, the city is the museum. Every single layer of its architecture, from the ancient foundations right up to the modern storefronts, it's all a chapter in this epic story. Okay, so where does a 4,000-year story even begin? We have to rewind all the way back to the Bronze Age, to this powerful port city that laid the very first stones of what would become Larnaca. We're talking about a place called Kishion. So Kidion pops up around 1400 BCE, and the way they built things was just smart. It was a direct reflection of their environment. They used what was right there: mud brick that baked solid in the sun, super durable local stone, and wood. These weren't just strong buildings. They were naturally insulated against that intense Mediterranean heat, absolutely perfect for a busy port city. And if you look at how Kishion was laid out, you can pretty much figure out what was important to them. This was a city built for three things: business, defense, and worship. You had workshops just buzzing with activity, massive storehouses packed with goods from all over the sea, and these really impressive defensive walls made from huge blocks of stone. But right at its heart were these temples with open courtyards, which tells you just how central spiritual life was. But those foundations laid by Kidiation, that was just the beginning. As you can see here, each new era brought a whole new layer to the city. Around 1000 BCE, you get the Phoenicians, master sailors who come in and upgrade the harbor. Then come the Greeks, who introduce this totally new way of thinking about balance and public life. And finally, the Romans show up, the master engineers who would completely revolutionize the city's infrastructure. See, the Greeks didn't just build buildings, they really shaped the spaces between them. They brought in ideas like symmetry and proportion, which made the city feel more organized and, honestly, just more beautiful. And their design for homes was genius for the climate. They built them around a central courtyard that basically acted like a natural air conditioner, pulling light and a cool breeze right into the house. So if the Greeks brought beauty, the Romans brought power and pure convenience. They were all about infrastructure. Aqueducts, which are just an incredible feat of engineering, delivered fresh water right into the city, making things like public baths and fountains possible. They paved the roads, which made trade and moving troops way more efficient. The Romans literally made Larnaca a more comfortable, modern place to live. Now, as the Roman Empire started to fade, the whole focus of the city began to shift. The next big chapter in Larnaca's architecture wasn't driven by trade or comfort anymore. It was all about two things: faith and the constant need for defense. And there is no better example of this than the Church of St. Lazarus. Built back in the 9th century, it's a total masterpiece of Byzantine style. From the outside, it looks really solid, almost imposing with its fixed stone walls. But the moment you step inside, you enter this completely different world. It's rich, it's spiritual, the domes just soar above you, the whole layout is shaped like a cross. Every single detail is designed to make you look up, and it really cemented Larnaca as a major center of the Christian faith. But alongside all that faith, there was also fear. The Middle Ages were a pretty chaotic time, and you can see that in the architecture. Buildings basically became fortresses. Structures like the Larnaca fort weren't built to be pretty. They were built for one reason: to protect the city's lifeline, its harbor, from anyone who might want to attack. It was all about function over form, and that function was just survival. All right, after the medieval period, two massive empires come along and leave their mark on Larnaca, and they each had a completely different vision for how a city should look and feel. This is where we see this fascinating clash and combination of Ottoman and British styles. And this comparison is so interesting because it's about way more than just buildings. It's about two different cultures. The Ottoman style was all about privacy. Life happened in these cool, shaded inner courtyards, hidden away from the narrow, winding streets. And then, in complete contrast, you have the British colonial style. It was all about projecting order and power. Their buildings had these grand, symmetrical fronts that faced onto wide, organized streets. It wasn't just architecture, it was a statement. It was a European ideal stamped right onto the city. If you want to really get the Ottoman aesthetic, just look at the Hala Sultan Tekke. It sits so peacefully next to the Salt Lake with these elegant domes and minarets. The stonework is simple, it's clean, it's beautiful. The whole building just has this feeling of spirituality and function, totally in harmony with the nature around it. The British, on the other hand, built what was basically the machinery of a modern state. You can still see their legacy in the big, formal administrative buildings, the customs houses that controlled all the trade, and the schools built to educate a new generation. These buildings brought a very European sense of order and completely changed the public face of Larnaca. So what do you get after 4,000 years of all these different influences? You get a city that isn't just one thing. It's this beautiful, complex mosaic of everything that came before. It is truly a living museum. Let's just stack it all up real quick. It all starts at the bottom. The Bronze Age gave the city its rock-solid foundations. Then, on top of that, the Greeks brought a new sense of order and harmony. The Romans then layered on their incredible engineering, their infrastructure. After them, the Byzantines infused the city with these towering monuments to faith. Then you have the Ottomans, who came in and reshaped the private spaces, the very rhythm of daily life. And finally, the British arrived and completely modernized the city's public face. And what you're left with is the Larnaca of today, a city where you can literally sip a coffee right next to ruins that are thousands of years old, where you'll see a traditional Ottoman house with its secret courtyard standing right beside a brand new apartment block. It is, in every sense of the word, a city of layers. And the thing is, Larnaca's story isn't finished. It's a living, breathing city that's still growing and changing. But what makes it so special is that it never seems to erase its past. With every new building that goes up, it just adds another chapter to the story. And that kind of brings us to a final thought. Every city, every town has a story that's told through its buildings, a story about its people, its history. So the next time you're walking down your own street, maybe take a closer look. What stories are written in the stones around you?